We're going to go ahead and record the session just so you know. We also have a YouTube channel. We'll house a presentation there, so you'll be able to run it back for all the wonderful tips that you hear today in case you missed something. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Welcome, welcome to the second installment in the Broward County Black Chamber's 2021 Summer Sizzle Marketing Tips. We're extremely happy to have you with us here today. I'm the founder of the Chamber and the current president, Shahua Jarrett Gellin. And on behalf of the Chamber, we welcome you to this very exciting topic. We often get questions here at the Chamber about how do you catch the eye of, potential customers? What's the right way to do social media? And trust me, I know that we are all on social media. We've seen several ways that you can do this wrong. And so we thought it would be a good idea to do an advanced class or session that looks at all the things you should be doing. That's best practices as it relates to social media to make sure that you're sending the right brand message when you post on your platforms. And I couldn't think of anyone better to do that than a cool friend of mine, Ed King, who has the experience and the knowledge and the passion because, he delivers this content with passion to talk to you all here tonight on this topic. So just a little bit about Ed. Ed King is an award-winning neo-pop artist and graphic designer from Miami, Florida. How many times do you meet people from Miami? Actually from Miami. Before taking the role as marketing manager at ArtServe, Ed worked in ad agencies, honing his skills as a designer and art director of political, corporate, and healthcare communication. King later worked for himself as Ed King Pop Art for over a decade. Named in the press as one of the top 5 pop artists and one of the most creative minds in South Florida, King recently decided to return to marketing after winning Best in Show at his final pop art exhibition. Ed King believes in the collective value of people, community, and local business. He has invested his time as an art and music teacher for the Motivational Edge for Business Network International, and as a board member for Family Resource Center of South Florida, and an avid contributor to National Public Radio. In his current role, Ed King fiercely advocates on behalf of artists and clients he represents while acting as a full-throated, I love that, ambassador for ArtServe's mission of inclusivity, diversity, and art as an agent for social change. Now, of course, you can see on the flyer that Ed has moved on to some bigger and better things, and we love to see that. He is the current COO of Creative Pinellas, which of course is just a continuation of all the things that he's already done. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our presenter tonight, Ed King, so we can talk about some advanced social media marketing. Welcome, Ed.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. And not sure if everybody can see me. I've got the flyer up on the screen, but I am so excited that everybody came out today to be here and to learn about some social media marketing. So I don't want to take up time just with the intro. I'd rather just dive right into the presentation because everything that you guys are here for is in that presentation. But you know what? I'm going to say this one thing, Shahua, you were right. I am passionate, and you're going to hear it in my voice in my presentation today because I love talking about this. And Shahua, thank you so very much for creating this opportunity for me to connect with this audience and to impart this knowledge. I have such a passion for this. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And hold on, I'm just having a little bit of a tech thing here. I'm going to hit that share screen button. There we go. And you should see my screen right now.
Perfect, we can.
Okay, and I'm going to press the play button. And this is my presentation for the Broward Black Chamber of Commerce Social Media Marketing and Media Planning for Ad Campaigns. And There's going to be a little mix of how you do your ad campaigns, how you do social media, and how they integrate today. And let me get started right now with just a little bit on that background. You know, in the last 2 years, I've done agency design work. I've had multiple marketing speeches. Shahiwa, I know that you attended one a couple years ago. I've attended marketing conferences. As an individual artist, I've also sold original artwork. I was the marketing manager for ArtServe. I was a creative strategist for multiple private clients. And today I am the chief, boy, that should say operating. That is an error. Chief, you know what? But it's good to aspire to great things. Chief Operating Officer for Creative Pinellas. I'm going to have to fix that. Today's agenda. We're going to discuss why we're here. We're going to discuss converting your email campaigns, which you should be doing, into social media. And you can see a misspelling there. That should be an O, not a P. Developing a solid social strategy and things you need to be successful. Very important. So let's start right at the top. Why are we here? So this is really important. We are here because let's talk about the social media use of people around the entire world. 4.4 billion people on social media. That's every kind of social media put together, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. 4.4 million, a billion with a B, people, right? So 56% of the global population, that's more than half, are on social media. And you know, you think about tapping into that market, even if you could get a fraction of a percent of those people to buy your product, you would never have to work again. You'd be rich. So those first two metrics for me are why we're here. The volume of people is outrageous. Oh, hit that next button. So Facebook alone has 2.8 billion monthly active users, and then 2.2 billion going to the advertising reach of YouTube. You think about WhatsApp, 2 billion active users. The list goes on and on, from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. The number of people that are using these products is so voluminous. There's so many people that having a strategy to reach them has to be part of your marketing plan. It's a has to. So, why are you posting? This is a question you really have to ask yourself. Are you posting because you want to drive traffic to your website or to any website? Are you posting because maybe you are a source of news and entertainment and you're trying to give out information? Maybe you're trying to get some kind of action, right? You're posting because you want people to maybe go to a certain location or to do something that would be critical for your business. Or maybe you're just sending out event invites. But it's really good to know before you press any post, any button to post on Facebook or Instagram, what is the purpose of that post? What are you trying to get out of your audience? It's very important. And so when you're doing those posts, something that occurs to me is that people typically don't take time to consider their social post structure. Now, what does this mean? How do you build an effective social post? This is something I want to spend some time on and talk about. And if you guys have any questions, dive into the chat and Shahi will be moderating that chat. I tend to start out with building my post using keywords. That is a first step for me. Anything that has to do with the post or the action or the desired result that I want from that post, I get those keywords going. I'm a big believer in headlines. If I capture somebody's attention right off the bat with a catchy headline, I put that in my post, and not a lot of people do that. Some people let their artwork, the photo, the image, the graphic, they let that speak for itself, but there's other people who read that post text. And how do you capture those people? I use headlines as a tool for that. Then there's the body copy. That comes right below the headline. What are you actually saying to your audience? And are you following the rules of body copy in social media? And that could be tags, hashtags, that could be links. We're going to get into that. But for now, keywords, headlines, body copy, and then, yes, building a bank of hashtags. And when I say bank, I don't mean just like one list. I'm talking about a whole list based on every single action or initiative or action that you want to convey or that you expect to get from your audience. So let's dive into these 4 key parts of social post structure. You can hear that excitement in my voice. I do this every time I deal with social media for my clients. This is something that's on my list, these 4 things. One of my clients was Aaron Bassett Artistry. As you can see from the post style, you know immediately that this is a Facebook post just based on the style of the text. The way it's laid out, we know this is a Facebook post. So you can see over there, I've got change the game. So there's my headline. So that can draw people in. And take your style to the next level with silk wearable art pieces from the Aaron Bassett Artistry collection. Learn more, and there's a link. With the link, instantly you know this is meant to drive people to the website, right? Now that's a buffer link because we were using Buffer as the social media tool for scheduling her posts, but Buffer is just one of many, whether it's Hootsuite or whether you use the traditional ad manager on Facebook. There's a lot of different ways to track your links. In this particular case, we were using Buffer, so we were tracking using a buffer link. And then what comes next after that body copy? We have a bank of hashtags. But before I even started this post, before I even considered what the image would be, right? I knew I was working from a bank of keywords so that when I'm doing her posts, I know we're going to do at least 1 post a day. So that's 365 posts at least. So that means I have to come up with how many different ways to talk about fashion, right? So Shahiwa, I see you shaking your head yes, because yes, that means before you even touch social media, you should be in a Microsoft Word document writing out every possible way to communicate your business to your consumer. And not only did I do that myself, but I would go to the other people who already figured it out, right? So who are the people who've already figured out fashion? Dolce & Gabbana, right? Louis Vuitton, right? There's so many, Prada. I remember looking at their website. There are so many fashion experts out there. And I would go, let me just read their posts. Let me read their emails. I would subscribe to their emails. Let me go check out their website and pick out those keywords that have been making them money for decades. I said, well, man, if we're going to compete in this space, I definitely need to know what words are going to be motivating to the public who has the money, right? From these keywords, I can start to build language that's not for 1 day, not for 2 days, but for a whole year of social media posts. So if you figure there are 365 days in a year, that's at least 365 posts. That means you're going to need a huge list of keywords. That's a great step. Let's move on to the next step. What about headlines? So now you've got a bank of keywords to help you come up with different social posts, but I love headlines. For me, headlines capture people's imagination. They contextualize what you're going to be writing about or what they're see right there. Or sometimes you just need one little phrase to stop somebody from scrolling, right? Live your best look. You put that out in the world, somebody's going to stop and go, well, wait a minute. What does that mean? Let's talk about that, right? And you can see some other ones in here. Grace in motion, right? Slip on a bold statement, playful, engaging, smart. For all the people that are in the world, you're never going to make a perfect post that appeals to everyone. But you can have a headline that works for some people, turn around the next day, have another headline that works for a whole other group, and you keep hitting them every single day with a different headline, and you're going to be attracting new people. You're going to be casting a wide net of people who are looking at your posts. There's another thing with this. It's about continuity and consistency. Once you start doing headlines, they expect you to do headlines, and it becomes part of your style. Here, for Aaron Bassett Artistry, we have Live Your Best Look. And once again, you see those elements are in there. There's the headline, there's the body copy, there's a link to drive them to the website for sales, and a bank of hashtags that are relevant to the artist, to the fabric artist. So let's move on to the next step, body copy. AJ Cinnabons is one of my favorite clients. Best buns in Miami. I'm telling you right now, after you get off this Zoom, go to AJ Cinnabons and buy yourself some buns. You'll trust me, they're the best. They're addictive. We wanted to come up with a campaign to attract attention, right? So obviously he's got a great looking bun here, and they have an Oreo cookie. So what, come up with a headline about, the copy says get up in that cookie. Here we say don't stop, get it, get it. And everybody knows that song. So that's our headline, right? But when we get into the body copy, what supports that headline is talking about experiencing the irresistible melt in your mouth flavor. So you can imagine the words that you're seeing in here, devilishly delicious, right? How many words from the word bank would I be using in here? And what kind of word bank did I develop for AJ Cinnabons, right? For all the different posts that we put together, we had to be creative in coming up with that body copy. And again, like I said, if you're doing a post a day, at least a post a day, that's 365 opportunities to write this body copy. What does this mean? You need to take a moment to pause when you're talking about what your business is. You're thinking about that internally. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, am I having the right conversation with my audience? What is the long form conversation I'm having with my audience? And by long form, I mean, if you added up 3, 6, 9 months of social media, what were you actually trying to convey to them, right? So thinking of these as one-offs is probably a mistake. You want to think of your body copy as a long conversation that you're having that are broken up by events. Those events could be 4th of July sale or Thanksgiving, right? Holidays, oh my goodness, Valentine's Day. How did I forget that? So the whole point is we all know the events that are going to happen during the course of the year. But in your creative planning, you should be considering what your language is moment to moment, all the way through these events, and ask yourself if you're having a consistent conversation. No matter what time of year it is, these buns are devilishly delicious. So that's the message we're trying to get to our audience. And of course, at the very end, you can see ajcinnabuns.com. We were trying to drive people to the website to buy these buns. So let's stay on AJ Cinnabons for a second. Again, you see the headline and you see the body copy. And here we're talking about the Gloria Esteban, a play on words, for his guava bun, which is one of his best buns. But we also had a bank of hashtags. What does this mean for us? This means that, first of all, AJ Cinnabons is always the first hashtag, right? Now, in coming up with his bank, what are all the different hashtags that could drive people to experience his buns, right? We have, there's some people who are on those food porn hashtags, some people food lover, some people hashtag chef, hashtag pastry chef, and on and on and on. In your business, you'll want to consider every possibility for hashtags for you. And we know that these hashtags, some will be consistent over time because you're always, like for AJ Cinnabon, he's always going to be a baker. But some of those hashtags might change based on events. So if he has a holiday sale, some of those hashtags will probably talk about the holidays. If it's a Thanksgiving sale or if it's a Valentine's Day sale, some of those hashtags might shift because of that. What if he's an award winner? Well, you can see in there, hashtag award winner, hashtag people's choice, best of the best, best of 2020, because he won best of 2020 for best bun. We throw that in there just in case people are searching for the best food in Miami. So consider what makes you special, what makes you unique, and what could bring people together. People typically do searches under hashtags. So you might do hashtag desserts, and you get all the posts that are related to desserts. If I put desserts in my hashtag, I'd be in there somewhere. If I do one that's specific, hashtag AJ Cinnabons, of course, you're going to get AJ Cinnabon posts. But maybe you do one that's hashtag handmade or hashtag food lover. AJ Cinnabons, having those hashtags would be slipped in. So some of them are general, some of them are specific, and some of them are based on events that happen during the year, like holidays. You should have banks of hashtags that you use, these lists of hashtags, based on these different scenarios and more. Don't let my list be the end all be all. Come up with a bunch of lists of hashtags that would help drive traffic to you. And just so you know, when I talk about Microsoft Word documents, and if you think I'm kidding, I'm not kidding. I wanted to show you just a snippet of this is the work I do. So when I take on a private client, before I even touch images, before I even touch their website or any of that stuff, it's all text. It's me doing the hardcore research and the writing and the investigation of what it means to promote this brand. And I sit down and I write out those word banks and hashtag banks, the copywriting, and I start coming up with what is necessary for my clients. You should treat yourself like you're your own client and work as your own ad agency, work as your own marketing professional to structure your social media posts so that you're having this long form conversation with your audience, right? Trust me, it's been very successful. It's worked for my clients. It's worked for me. I really encourage that you give this a shot. So, hey, there's me. So even back when I was doing social media for my artwork, I would throw in, tags, hashtags, right? My headline, which is on the same line, I made a mistake there back then. I refined it since then, but day 2, Coconut Grove Art Festival. And there's a tag, there's my hashtags, there's my body copy. And it was all about promoting my work as an artist and selling my work at that show. To make this happen, these are some of the things that go on that I was doing. Obviously I was taking photos to get those graphics done. I was attending events for my clients to make sure I was getting video and photos, event documentation. I was creating story opportunities, right? So part of that was coming up with ideas to help promote that business so that I could come up with, oh, well, that's going to be great on social media. That's going to be great in email, right? Doing the copywriting, literally sitting down and writing out the text, and tons of proofreading. And you see me even in this presentation, when I see a mistake, I'm not shy about it. I'll just say, hey, I see a mistake right there. Lots of proofreading. And you got to cultivate an email list. And we're going to get into that because email feeds, social media, we're going to talk about that. But these are some of the things that are involved when you're doing hardcore social media, especially across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. So let's dig into how email can make social media posts. I feel like email campaigns are actually an extension of social media. You're probably in a business right now that already has an email list, is already connecting with an audience through email marketing. And for the private clients that I've had, for the organizations that I've worked for and represented, email is always the number one tool, the number one vector to drive traffic, right? So what do you want to be your number two, your number three, your number four tools to drive that traffic as well? Email will support social media. So here's a good example. On the left-hand side, a regular email campaign, something that can be clicked. This one is a buy one, get one sale. We came up with a headline, a couple hashtags, body copy, and images all put together. And this email went out with the intent on driving traffic to the website. But if you're doing a campaign, it's not good enough. And one email is not good enough, and you have to support that email with social media. I know if you look at this, you can already see social media, like raw potential for social media in this email. Now, how would that work? Well, right off the bat, the top image would work. You could turn that top image from the email, throw it into Facebook, and write your headline, write your body copy, put in your link and your hashtags, and you've turned an email campaign into a social campaign, and now you're supporting this with social. What does this do for you? Well, first of all, you've got two different vectors of the same message right now, email and social. But what else does this do? Well, obviously, both of these vectors are driving traffic to the website. The website acts as a third vector of communication. And all of that text, all of it together, email, social media, website, all working together boosts your SEO, your search engine optimization. How does Google pick up the first, second, third, fourth thing on their search engines? It's all based on these algorithms that are supported by how much frequency your message is out there in public. The more text you have, the better you are. The more vectors that text is used in, the better you are. So email by itself is great, but it's not good enough. Email and social is great, but it's not good enough. When you got the trifecta of email, social, and website, boom, now we're cooking. And those are just scratching the surface. There's a lot more that goes into that. But if you're not working on those basic items, you're missing something. You're missing one of the tires from your car. You want to make sure this car rides smooth. You got to have all tires on the car. This is the way to do it, to get started. Let's keep going. You hear that excitement in my voice? I love this stuff. So, same email, but you see the same image pulled out from the middle section, and you can have a second post right there. You pull that text out, add that image. You can take this section of the email and turn it into social. So I just blew it up so you can see that there's an image that exists, there's a headline, there's body copy. How do I not use this for social media? It's got all the things I've been talking about right there. So once again, you're taking this email and using it to feed your social media. And boom, here's something that's very similar. You take that image, there you go. You'll be seeing double. That's your headline. Don't miss this chance to shop the V-Day BOGO sale. Buy one, get one. There's a link to drive traffic, and then you see that message, right? Aaron Bassett Artistry, the client is always the first hashtag. What's the second hashtag? BOGO, V-Day, sale, shop small, shop local, right? Gift ideas. All the things that would be relevant for a holiday sale artist, fabric artist, who is selling her work, right? What are the hashtags that would work for you? That's something you have to come up with. But I can tell you that this has been very effective in driving traffic and making sales. Campaign continuity. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love the word continuity. Yes. So here's one from AJ Cinnabons, right? Taste the love. And he talks about, this post talks about being devilishly delicious now through February 10th. Here's a link so that you can enjoy that sugary sweet goodness, right? That's Twitter. Now we know that Twitter has 140 characters, so we have to be limited in our message, right? But that's a February 5th post. Same day, Instagram, taste the love, same message. Now, even though the link is in there, we know that links don't work on Instagram, right? But we can still deliver the same message. We can still deliver our bank of hashtags, and we can still give them that copy, and we can still show them how amazing these buns are. Instagram. Then we move over to Facebook. Same day, taste the love, same message, the link, campaign continuity. Why am I doing this across all these different channels? And we did it also on, LinkedIn and all the other channels. Why did we do this? It's very simple. Not all of your customers are on Facebook. Not all of your customers are on Twitter. Not all of them are on Instagram or LinkedIn. And they might be on all of those things at different times or different days. It is not up to you to decide the behavior of your clients, but it is up to you to know and recognize that at any given time, your clients could be in any of those spaces, but just one of them. They might not go to the other spaces. How about this? They might go to all the spaces, but because there's so many people posting, they might only see your message in one of all those spaces, right? Campaign continuity ensures that you're delivering that SEO, that search engine optimization that we talked about. So there's continuity of that message or of that tactic, but we have a message that is consistent across all platforms from day to day to day to make sure that the message that you want to drive and that you want to put out there is hitting your audiences in different spaces, but with continuity. That is a winner. And I'm telling you, watching sales come in, watching people react to these messages in different spaces leads to more website traffic, it leads to more sales, and it leads to something that I think is very powerful, but we just have to call it how it is. Inquiries. People who are asking questions, they might not be buying today, but if they're asking, oh, what's this about? Or I really like this, or how much does it cost? Do you do shipping? Do you have a shipping cost? If you can start the conversation with somebody, conversations turn into conversions in my book, right? But how do we start that conversation? Man, I've been getting this message over and over and over again. Well, we know in marketing, repetition is the key. So campaign continuity is part of that repetition. We have to start giving permission to people to start inviting those questions. And sooner or later, they're going to pull out that American Express card. And that's when we've won. So let's move on to the next thing. Man, I love this stuff. Media planning with social. This is one of my favorite parts of the presentation. Let's take an old client of mine. This is from a while ago, Camelot days. These guys did their work in Broward County and TY Park. They're a Renaissance festival. They're great people and they have a great event, right? So with them, we did an advertising campaign. Sure, we had some TV, we had some radio, we had some Miami Art Guide, which is email blasts, Showtime with the Sun Sentinel, that's print. And you can see they're spending some money on their ad campaign. But look what I highlighted here. When I negotiate with the New Times, we had social media campaign. I negotiate with Where Magazine. Included in that is social media campaign, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and boosted video commercial. It's very important. So I think that as you're doing your media planning, and I'm not gonna, I don't know what your media budget is. You could have $5, $50,000, $500,000. I don't know what you have, but somewhere in there, paid social media from different media organizations also helps your organic efforts. So far, everything that I've been talking about has been organic. Don't stop. You should be pairing your organic with paid. If you're doing paid and you're not doing organic, I think you're making a mistake. There's many sales reps who will tell you, yeah, if you're paying us, don't do organic, just keep the money flowing this way. They just want more money. Don't ever let somebody tell you to stop doing your own social media, even if you're paying for it from an outside vendor. As a pair, it's going to do all those things I talked about. It's going to create campaign continuity. It's going to add to your SEO. It's going to create more vectors for people to fall in love with your brand. Don't let somebody stifle that by telling you, just give me the money. However, when you spend the money, don't forget social media. Always ask, even if they're TV or radio, always ask, do you have social media? How can we get that? So, here's an example of one of their social media posts, and people like the fire. So they did a lot of clicking and sharing on the fire. We had another client, Scottish Festival. People like the kilts and they like the big fuzzy hat. And these guys had great social media planning as well. So when they did, oh, you like those little dots? You like that? The flash bulbs look good. When we did their overall ad performance, right? They had some amazing analytics. And the one thing I have to do here is I'm gonna exit this real quick because my video is covering some of these. So I'm gonna exit this and then press play again. Just give me 1 sec. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me just minimize this. I'm gonna press play again. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So over the life of their work, they had 3,900 website clicks, 73,000 impressions, 36,000 in reach. What do all these numbers mean? What does all this stuff mean, right? Before we get into defining all these numbers, first of all, I want you to notice how large the numbers are. It's insane. I don't know the last time I saw a client that had 3,900 website clicks, right? That is a lot. I also don't know the last time I saw somebody who had 5,300 post engagement. That is a lot. What I can tell you right now is that for the clients who have had these amazing figures, and this is a pretty good, anybody with a 9.5 click-through rate, that's like to the moon, that's to Mars. That's just off the planet. That's awesome. They are doing hardcore post sharing, hardcore post comments, and hardcore likes. The bottom 3 metrics. Here's the deal. If no one is liking your posts, you're going to get very little traction. If no one is commenting on your posts, you're going to get very little traction. If no one is sharing your posts, same thing, very little traction. So while I love this quote where they said, there's been a consistent increase in their festival attendees, I can tell you something. It wasn't all my good work. I love taking the credit, but it wasn't all me. What happened was everybody associated with this festival liked it, commented, shared it. They had an amazing team of people who did that. But then the other people, the supporters, the people who loved the festival, the fans, also did the same thing. They had likes and comments and shares. You should be doing this. You should be getting your friends to like everything you do. Get your staff to comment on everything you do. Get your family to share everything you do. This is what drives impressions. This is what drives more people, more reach. If they didn't have these likes and comments and shares, and I will say clicks as well, and clicks, they would not get this massive impressions that we are looking at. So let's dig into that a little bit because it's really important. Well, hold on. Let's go back to the video because before we get into that, let's talk about video too. And I'm doing that because, hey, it's right here in the presentation. So for AJ Cinnabons, they produced a video, I should say I produced this video for them, and we started posting this on their social channels. The good news is video gets 5 times the amount of views than standard posts do. People even with that, all right, so I try to make the ones look good. So if you see ones that look like it, and then you actually eat them, and you taste what they look like, you know. So we posted this video and go behind the scenes with this in-depth look, and it was we posted it on YouTube and we put it on his website, and just like using email, just like to feed your social media and your website as well as the trifecta, video is that fourth wheel on the car where it has 5 times more traction than normal static images in your posts. I highly recommend that you produce videos as a way to draw people in. And you can see there's 83 people who had likes or hearts, 33 shares of the video. Those shares are all working to do one thing, which is to turn people on to the product, right? Very important that people fall in love with your brand. The same thing here with Aaron Bassett, where we had a video.
This is Aaron with Aaron Bassett Artistry. I'm an award-winning textile designer with a master's degree in textile design from the Savannah College of Art and Design and exhibitions such as Art Basel in Miami.
So with Aaron Bassett, we also produced a video, and you can see we had video after video after video. All of these videos require the things that I've been talking about, right? They require headlines, they require body copy, but the other thing that static images, just regular photos, will not give you is that these videos will attract 5 times the amount that the static images will. So when you see 236 views, you see 370 views, it's a lot of people interacting with this video content. It's very important. So, all press. You gotta announce your press. So when AJ Cinnabons gets an article in the South Day News Leader, sweet success. We say, hey, there's some fresh ink. And we say we're back in the press. And this time it's thanks to the South Day News Leader. And of course, there's a link driving people to the website. There's hashtags that say award winner and best of the best of 2020, and an article that shows off what this article was all about. Why is this important? You want to use social media to be one of the vectors that South Day News Leader doesn't have to reach your people. maybe your audience doesn't know that you are in this newspaper. Let them know. And what I like to do in this way is to actually crop it out and make it look exactly like a news article. So if it's in print, and take a photo or scan it and crop it, put it right in that social post and make it look like a newspaper article. Sometimes there are links, and so you share those links, but there's something about seeing this newspaper style that is very nostalgic with people. They love it. It's very easy to engage. But the whole point of this is to legitimize your professionalism and let a third party, a newspaper or a magazine, to let them say that you're experts, that you're awesome, that you're worth investing in. So you're not always talking about yourself. Now these guys are talking about you. But the newspaper or the magazine might not have access to reach your clients. So you got to share this with your clients, and you got to further that legitimate, that professionalism that you have. So it legitimizes you in their eyes. So how do we measure the effectiveness? Likes, shares, comments, saves, those are important. Reach, impressions, engagement. That's going to tell you everything that you need to know. I think we need to break this down. So when you're working with Facebook Ad Manager, or when you're working with Instagram has its own ad manager, and that's in cahoots, that is integrated with Facebook, or you're working with other social media products, you understand what these terms mean. So engagement is all the number of interactions. So if you add up your likes, your comments, your shares, all that stuff, when you're looking at your numbers, that's engagement. And engagement is literally people engaging with your post. They click or they write a comment, something like that. That's a literal engagement with your post. That's very important to know. Now, I borrowed some graphics from Brafton.com. You can see the link at the bottom there. And this makes it a lot simpler. I didn't want to have to rebuild all these graphics by myself. So I borrowed this from that website. But basically what I just said, engagement. It's the same number of likes, shares, comments, replies, saves, and clicks that your content has received. The impressions is the number of time your content is displayed. So think about like literally like a printing press. Once it shows up on a cell phone, on a computer screen, on a tablet, that's an impression. If you have 2 impressions, like if you've seen it twice, that is, that counts as 2 impressions, even though you're the same person. So no matter how many times it's unique or how many times it's the same person who sees it, that's going to count towards an impression. And once again, going back to Brafton.com. So there's organic impressions. Those are the ones that you post without spending any money. Paid impressions, and when you're spending money in Facebook Ad Manager, or when you're doing it through Instagram or other paid resources. And viral impressions is how many times your content is displayed as a result of high engagement, just like those insane numbers I showed you a few slides ago. Now, your reach is the number of people who see your content, right? That's your reach. And again, let's check this out. Unique impressions. So if to measure your reach, if I've seen your ad 5 times in a row, your post 5 times in a row, I only count as 1 unique impression when you're measuring reach. Because you want to measure how many people have been touched by your message, not how many people have been repeatedly touched by your message. There's another metric for that. So I want you guys to check this out, and you can do a screen grab if you want to. You can, do a screen capture. if this helps out. But these are important definitions. And I do want you to know, you could get this at thebrafton.com, but there's so many other places online. These definitions are all throughout the internet. So this is not original content that I've come up with. This is just how we do business. So you definitely want to know your number of impressions. You just want to know how many people have seen it straight up and how many times it's been displayed. Your reach will tell you how many unique people. That's unique as in how many individuals have seen your post. Then you want to get down through to the bottom, that number that we're always looking at, that click-through rate, right? Because that is part of our engagement. We want to know how many people or how many times people have been clicking to drive traffic to our destination. Are we clicking as far as a link goes? Are we driving traffic to your Valentine's Day sale? Something like that. Your click-through rate becomes very important when measuring your ROI, your return on investment. Let's do a case study so you can see a little further what I'm talking about. And Shahiwa, I know you've seen this one. So here's a case study, Reservoir Dogs, right? Which is a take on the Quentin Tarantino movie. And we did this full media plan. They had $3,000 for a social sprint, but we also did some banners and email, programmatic email and targeted banners. And they have a great look. You know, here's one of the banner ads that we use that for online, but also social media. Here's what a social media post looks like. And they had a comment, and then they had their social media link and a great image with the date and location. And you can see how there's continuity in the campaign because the email newsletter looks just like the social media post. The banner ad looks just like those other elements. So there's continuity for this play. And here's at the very top, you can see another banner ad, very cool looking. And here we go. You're looking at two different things. They're banners, programmatic banners, interstitials, programmatic email, and email blasts. So they had a very healthy digital campaign. It was awesome. But when you look just at Facebook itself, right? 546 website clicks. That's 546 people going to buy their tickets. 70 post likes. Now, 2 post comments. You're telling me you couldn't get the entire, all the actors and the staff that put this play together, you couldn't get them to comment? I think that's a little anemic. 5 shares, same thing. You couldn't get all the people who work on this play to share it with their friends. So they could have done better on the comments and the shares. But if you add up all those numbers, 546 plus 70 plus 2 plus 5, 623 is your post engagement. If somebody comes to you, you spend some money, and somebody comes to you and said, hey, you got 600 post engagement. First question, let me see the breakdown. I want to know if those are clicks or shares or comments. Why does this matter? Well, imagine if you only had 2 website clicks and 546 comments. All those comments aren't going to your ticketing page. That's not money. But the website clicks going to buy your tickets, that's money. So if you're going to have any kind of engagement, you want that engagement to be website clicks. Let's look at something else. Reach. Upper right-hand corner. 29,380. That's how many individuals experienced the Facebook message. But 58,000 people saw it. Or scratch that. 29,380 people saw it, but it was served, the ad was served 58,000 times. That means you had a frequency of almost 2. It was 1.98. So that means your ad was served twice to 29,000 people, basically. That's not bad. Now, for $3,000 for this full campaign, I can understand that those numbers could be better, but it's looking pretty good for the money. And to the best of my knowledge, they sold out their show. They had a great run of their show. If these metrics tell us something, it's that the advertising worked. Let's keep going. South Florida Symphony, yes. These guys, working with them to do their media planning. So we just went from a small campaign. Let's take a look at a big campaign. We started off with $113,000, but let's just skip to the end. We ended up spending about $250,000 on this by the end of the year. So the media plan was aspirational, but the results were astronomical, right? So in almost every negotiated media placement, WSVN, Facebook, Sun Sentinel, Facebook, Aventura Magazine, Miami Art Guide, Riverwalk, New Times, Art Circuits, you name it. Most of the negotiated media deals have a social media component. And I gotta tell you, just like I told you for organic, just like I told you for the small $3,000 spend or Camelot Days, the $5,000 spend, no matter how much or how little money I'm spending, I am negotiating social media in my media planning to ensure that my organic in-house message is being supported externally through the ad dollars that I'm putting towards that effort. I always make sure there's some component there of social media when I'm spending money. And as you can see here, it's all throughout this media placement plan. We get into Facebook ad performance. There's their ad in Where Traveler. Just as an example, this is one out of all of those media plans. This is just one placement that ran December 6th to the 19th. Our reach, meaning we hit 42,000 Mozart fans between the ages of 18 and 65. And we know that 55,000 ads were served to these 42,000 people. And we had 1,200 total clicks. That's pretty good. Let's keep going. Another one is looking at these post engagement 27,000. Here's a problem. There's some metrics that are missing. I'm showing this to you because I'm like, well, they've got impressions, they've got engagement and post comments and likes. Where are my clicks? If I don't see website clicks in a performance overview, I know immediately something's wrong with the math. If I'm spending money to promote my concert or event or product, and they don't give me an accurate report, I've got to go back to my sales rep. It's got to be a serious conversation because these metrics let us know what we did, but it also lets us know how do we spend in the future, right? If we had a bad report, maybe we'll change our tactic. Could be the artwork, could be the text, could be the audience we picked. There's got to be a reason why we weren't getting a good performance, right? But how could I determine that if they don't give me a complete report? Knowing these definitions and understanding how they serve you is important because then you know whether you're getting good information or faulty information. And you know whether that information is going to serve you in the future. But the one thing I can tell you is that South Florida Symphony had some serious continuity in their advertising. The messaging, the look, the feel, all consistent, and it's all driving traffic to their website. So just to recap, your clicks, your likes, your comments, your shares, that equals engagement. Your frequency, that is something that we've been talking about. That is the number of times your ad appears per individual. Here we had 2.3 impressions per individual. So basically a little more than double the reach, right? So 14,000 times 2 plus a little more, right? 2.3 would be the frequency. So your reach, again, is for individuals. Your impressions, again, are the number of times your ad was shown. And your frequency was how many times that ad was shown to a single individual. Very important metrics that you have to keep on top of. I want to go through a little recap right now. I think it's important that you make a media plan with multiple layers. And all of those layers, whether it's TV, radio, print, online assets, you name it, all of those should have social media components added to it. You should have unique and colorful language that is particular to your business. And you need to post with continuity on all social platforms, like those AJ Cinnabons ads that I showed you, where on February 5th, they were all the same. And we did that over and over and over again so that we had built trust and reliability with our consumer base. Also, don't just do one or the other. You should do paid and organic social media, right? Paid would be through media reps. So it could be Sun Sentinel, or it could be WSVN, it could be a magazine, whatever. But then you've also got organic, which is you on your business page doing your work. And then when you get that data in, study that data, understand it, compare it to the last time, and make database decisions to drive your marketing efforts. And do yourself a favor. Before you spend a dime, before you even think about money, do your research. Now, I understand that's a little tougher because you're busy. You don't have time to, stop working and research this stuff, but I'm telling you, if you don't, there's always going to be a cost. If you don't spend that time up front, you're going to spend it in outcomes that are undesirable later. Let's avoid that later outcome by spending the time up front doing the research. The other thing is, don't give up. You're not going to be a social media expert the first day, right? If you fail the first time, there's a second time, then a third time. And I'm telling you, as a 46-year-old person, I got my start when I was 23. That's 23 years ago, I started in my first ad agency. I didn't know anything. And now look, Shahiwa wants me here doing this speech. It takes time, it takes commitment and passion, but don't give up, because I believe in you guys, you can do it. So before we end, let's talk about the tools of the trade. This is very important. I want you guys to know this stuff. If you're gonna pay money to do this, that's one thing. Ad agencies, freelance graphic designers, social media managers, they all exist. But you could do this in-house, but you do need a couple things to be successful. Pro tools for me, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, After Effects, Premiere. The first three are all about graphic design. The last two are about video animation and video production. You could use Constant Contact. You can use MailChimp. There's all sorts of email marketing tools that are out there. But like I said, I think email supports social media. You definitely should have some kind of email platform and be regularly communicating with your audience. I'm a fan of once a week. Other people do it twice a month. Whatever your frequency is, make sure you're doing that. And last thing, no one's gonna love it more than you. Falling in love with yourself first doesn't make you vain or selfish, it makes you indestructible. No one's ever gonna be a bigger cheerleader than you are for your own business. So I expect you guys to get out there and get it and hit it hard. And with that, I wanna say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Shahiwa. And I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna show my face, and I'm here to answer any questions if you got them.
Okay, everyone. Let us know if you have any questions. Dr. Tarla Toomer says, thank you. She said, thank you for the presentation. Please, as I was reminding you, woo, woo, like one of your favorite terms there.
Whoop, whoop.
He always does this, guys. This is not. Sade says thank you, says that this was great. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will check the chat. Vincent says thank you as
My
well.
pleasure. My pleasure, Vincent.
Janet Lawrence says good information. Thank you so much for sharing. David Wright says good stuff, good stuff. I do want to ask a question while we see if anyone has a question in the chat, and then we wrap up.
Absolutely.
I know that there's a lot of talk about having, an advertising budget and what that, should look like. Is there a certain percentage that you should say, oh, you have this advertising budget, and then a certain percentage of that advertising budget should be dedicated to social media? How do we
Yes.
measure that? How do we budget for that?
The answer is yes. Like, let's just start off with the first answer. Should they have a marketing budget? Yes. What should that marketing budget look like? If you hired me, let's put it that way. If you hired me to be your marketing manager, your chief marketing strategist for your message, I would instantly walk into your business and say you should be allocating 25% just straight up to marketing. Of course, your eyes would get really big and you would say that's crazy. What are you talking about, right? However, I would ask you, forget today, right? Today's happening. We're in the thick of it. What's your next year goal, and what are your 3 years goals? And if you want to hit those 3 year goals and you want to grow and expand your message, and you're not considering, the 25%, you might be disappointed 3 years from now with what your growth results are because you didn't make that initial investment up front. Now, I understand not everybody has 25% to give away. They have employees, they have insurance, maybe they got mortgage, kid in college, all that stuff. That's fine. Let's scale it back a little bit. Can you do half that? 12%? Can you do 10% advertising budget? Anything under 10%, I would ask the question, are you serious about reaching an audience, right? And that's not coming from a negative place. That's coming from a place of, I like to compete and I like to win. And when it comes to basketball, I want to have a good team on the court so I can put the ball in the hoop. When it comes to advertising, I want to have enough resources to effectively grow my business. Not just spend money to say, oh, we're putting 10% in, but we're not seeing any growth. That's not going to work. We need to make sure that money, if we spend it, is highly effective. So we're not just on the court just to play and get a sweat. We want to win the game. So if you're asking me how to win, it's 25%.
Ooh, okay, everybody, 25%. I will say this, I saw some, like the various budgets in your presentation. I saw one that was, I think, $3,000.
That's Utrecht Theater, that's right.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If, is it effective to say, have a specific plan, social media plan or advertising plan for a particular part of the year? So maybe I can't spend that 25% or 10%, but I say this is a specific chunk of money and this is when we have this event or this particular sale or, whatever it is that kind of will be a center for a business to, focus on and kind of advertise that particular thing. Does that make sense to then say, we'll, allocate this budget for that particular event or this particular time of year to kind of drive sales, social media, email marketing, etc.?
Yeah, yes. And I really like that question because that is a reality a lot of businesses are facing where some businesses don't operate all year. And what I mean by that is they have seasons that drive their income, right? Some businesses, they make 90% of their income between September and January,
Mhm.
right? And that's all holiday spending. And then the rest of the year, they go dormant and they
Yeah.
kind of operate like this. And then when September rolls around, they operate like this, right?
Right.
That is absolutely fine to pick your moments throughout the year to say, okay, these three parts of the year are important to us. That's where we're going to allocate our funding. So what you should do is a marketing plan that
Mhm.
you have organic messaging. Like I said, there's 365 days. You should at least have 365 posts, if not double or triple that.
Mhm.
Then during that time of organic posting, you pick your moments when we're going to do digital campaigns.
Okay.
That's paid posting.
Right.
Now, I do want to say one more thing. You brought up Outre Theater. You noticed that it wasn't just social media. They also had banner ads. They
Mm.
also had email blasts.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
also have what I call programmatic email blasts, where based on demographics and geographical information, emails only go out to people that you've determined are your audience,
Okay.
right? Those are a little more expensive, but they yield great results.
Okay.
So you might want to save those extra little campaigns where you're doing extra digital options. Save those for the special moments where you know this is our high earning moment. We're going to put advertising money right there.
Right. Right. Okay. Bernadette Ford says, thank you. They were loving the presentation. It was definitely, since we're not social media gurus, right? It's a lot to take in, and I appreciate your time and effort, especially sharing with us some of the tools at the end. But I think also what was helpful is you kind of going through the lingo and the language so we fully
Right.
understand the meaning and therefore the value behind reach, impressions, clicks, etc. So we can comprehend if you happen to pay someone, if this really is worth it. Am I getting a return on my investment and my dollar spent? So,
Right. And if you don't mind, I just want to say one more thing.
mhm.
When you're doing that exercise of determining how we're going to talk to the audience, ask yourself not just, hey, are we selling something or not, but
Mhm.
is this an institutional message?
Okay.
Is this a sales message? Is this a membership message?
Mhm.
What category do these messages fall into? You might have three, or you might have 13 different categories that your audience breaks down into.
Hmm.
And you want to segment your messaging and your advertising based on who's going to yield the best results financially. You might have lists of people who we're not spending any money on them.
Mhm.
And other, like, would you spend money to advertise to your staff? No way. But would you spend money to advertise to the richest people in South Florida? Maybe,
Right.
you know?
Mm. Okay. Well, thank you, Ed, once again for being our speaker tonight. You always come through in a big way. I knew that you would be detailed. And from the comments, everyone is thankful that you are able to spend this time with us this evening to share this very important information. It's not easy being a small business owner. And, a lot of times you have to be the expert in a lot of different things when you first start up until you kind of start
Yes.
having that money rolling in. And so you make do. And that's why we have, these sessions to say, make do. And then when you get to the point where you can, budget, go ahead and budget and hire someone who can help you, who's as passionate as Ed is. So thanks again, Ed. And
Yes, and thank you. I'm so glad for the invitation, and I'm so glad you do everything you do for the community and the Black community. We need you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for all your work.
no, thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. And I appreciate our friendship. And I want to say to you all, thank you for joining us this evening and spending time with us. This is just a bit of what we try to do to bring you some really good programming that will help you push forward with your business and help you really make some of the important decisions that you need to make by keeping you informed and up to date. As we move into, because can you believe it, we're almost in August. We'll be celebrating National Black Business Month. So please look out for our programming this coming month. We will have a couple live events. We were being careful, although we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We're going to be very careful, but have a couple of live events to kind of get to see each other again and have that interaction again. I know that's important. So look out in your newsletters and on our social media. Hey, we do have social media. And make sure you're following us on our Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. We're very active on our social media handles and providing information so you can keep up with what the Chamber is doing. So thank you and have a wonderful night, and we will see you at our next event. Bye-bye. I love it. I love your notes. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.